everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, and I am joined once again this week by JC of the Deluxe Asterisks. Go like his Facebook page, check out some really cool and creative art at, the Deluxe Asterisks. In case you've never seen our YouTube show or videos before, we are Just Two Marks. We enjoy wrestling, we enjoy watching wrestling, we enjoy talking about wrestling, but at the end of the day, we are not insiders, we have no real expert opinions, we're just fans talking about something that we enjoy. So while other similar YouTube shows, not taking anything away from them, may use insider terms and talk like insiders, we try not to do that as much because despite the enjoyment we have of the product or the art form, at the end of the day, we're just two marks and we're just wanting to talk and have a good time talking about wrestling. And we're going to have an interesting episode this week in that we're going to briefly go over Raw and SmackDown, but at this very second where we're recording right now, it is just before the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Special from the Cow Palace in San Francisco. So we're going to go over a couple things that happened on both Raw and SmackDown, and then we're going to watch the G1 Special from the Cow Palace and kind of give a little bit of a talk after all this about what happened there. So let's get started with our thoughts on Monday Night Raw. So Monday Night Raw this week. Well, we're going to talk about a couple things. First of all, just a little footnote. To the surprise of no one, Extreme Rules, Lashley and Roman Reigns. You kind of knew they were going to go in that direction. So it's been made official this week on Raw. But to kind of follow up on what we talked about last week with Sasha and Bayley, well, we got a special return. A long-awaited, long-time coming return this week on Raw. Dr. Shelby made his return, and that answered the question that I raised last week, where are they going to take this in a comedic direction and be goofy with it, or are they going to maybe try and find a way to make it seem like it's kind of a serious counseling thing where one may get something out of it and the other may not, and then it lead to a good storyline with the two of them. And the minute I saw Dr. Shelby, we had our answer. This is going to be played completely for the yucks.
And I will say, in all fairness, it was humorous. It was as much as I realize it could have been put in a serious light. It was, I don't know necessarily I don't know what the end game is for this, because when you see how Kane and Daniel Bryan ended up, it's like, okay, this makes sense how they ended up,
right?
Because they took it in this direction. With them, I just so what are they going to be? Are they going to be some kind of lovable tag team? Probably not. I wouldn't think.
Right. So
where does this go after you get your laughs and so on?
Exactly. There was a way that I remember, I will be fair, when this started happening with Daniel Bryan, I remember, and you were there throwing my arms there and going, good God, it's done. It's done. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a comedian. He's going to be the next they're going to try and make him the next Santino, and he's done. And it ended up being the best thing to ever happen to Daniel Bryan, because if it wasn't for that, they maybe wouldn't have saw anything in him to kind of maybe give him more opportunity down the line. That being said, I don't know if they can capture that kind of lightning twice with Sasha and Bayley. I don't know if there's really too much they can do with the both of them to kind of really keep it going. Because there are no women's tag team now. There's just one championship, and
isn't there rumblings of that happening eventually?
There's rumblings. It's all
It's all hearsay until we see it.
It's all hearsay until we see it, and it's not there now, so I'm just going to assume there isn't one. Mm. Until I see a women's tag team championship on Raw for me to go, well, they could lead to them being the win. I'm not going to act like there
in a way, though, I also think that, if they were going to go in this direction, maybe they should have did it sooner.
Yes.
Because, because this has been kind of subtly brewing for way too long, and it's and now it's going to be funny.
Yeah, that's kind of mean. It was. They were funny, so
Yeah, the
segments were funny. Again, it's kind of like for all my bitching, pissing, and moaning 6 years ago about this whole
dynamic kind of scenario.
Yeah, with Kane and Brian, it ended up being it
worked out.
Somehow. It worked out, and I remember me and Nick, who is a frequent guest host on this show, saying like when that happened, like Daniel Bryan's become the best part of Raw by being a part of that, and I mean maybe it's a way to get Bayley to show. Maybe there's a good end game. But, I kind of like thought with the way this storyline had played out, because it wasn't really humorous. I thought, hey, they could actually maybe talk about, like, kind of hit you that, because we've all had friends that were best friends, and then you have a blow-up and you don't want to talk anymore. And, like, they could touch on that real emotion with people, with Sasha and Bayley, and have, like, two friends actually trying to work things out, and things are changing, and they were best friends, but then, professional changes, personal changes,
opposing goals,
coming, that happens in life, and I thought, maybe they would try that, and they didn't. So like that was like kind of disappointment number one. Maybe I set myself up for something that was so unlikely to come I probably shouldn't have, but that's neither here nor there. So now, possibly unfairly in my head, I'm thinking, well, now they have a lot to work behind from, because I envision this as like a relatable, serious storyline in my head.
That might just, it's already it might just, it could go into the whole blood feud kind of thing. But yeah. I don't know.
And then the other thing from Raw we're going to talk about, we're gonna keep our Raw and SmackDown thoughts very brief, because we might go into more detail with the our post live New Japan thoughts. So we're only going to be talking about a few things. So if there's something we don't cover, one, we apologize, and two, hit us up in the comments section, and we'll get back to you with our feelings on that matter if we had to omit something from Raw or SmackDown this week. So second thing we're going to cover is, just going to mention a list of names. Ted DiBiase, Triple H, Psycho Sid, King Kong Bundy, Sonny, Trish Stratus, Dolph Ziggler, The Big Show.
White people.
No.
Oh.
No, you're close.
Oh.
Oh. Stephanie McMahon.
It's not white people?
What do all these things have in common other than being white, James?
They're not the British Bulldog.
Sorry, fucking kayfabe breaking motherfucker.
They're not the British Bulldog, who you admitted.
Oh! British Bulldog too. Several others.
Yes.
This is an elite class. Wonder if I'm posting, I'm going to try and put a beat, but it's probably not going to happen. So, sorry! No, these are all people who have been shit on, literally, in a WWE ring. Vince McMahon himself. Ziggler got it twice, because one time as Spirit Squad, one time right. These are all people that have been shit on. And Kevin Owens has been added somewhat to this elite group of people by hiding in a porta potty, getting locked in with duct tape, and having Braun Strowman throw it over the stage.
Now, I will say, in all fairness, in a couple things, like, one, he got covered in what appeared to be blue paint. Now, I was given the implication that it might have been some kind of, like, dye or something within, like, the porta potty contents, but it looked honestly like literal blue paint, so I'm very confused by that. Like, it smeared, it stained like paint. So maybe it's just, maybe they thought, well, we gotta have some kind of payoff. You can't shove someone in a porta potty and not have something happen. Because, like, no one was actually like, blah, blah, this is terrible, when they were getting him, like, trying to get him to safety. So, because I would feel like that's like the end game is. It's like, ew, this is gross. No one thought it was gross.
Right.
So.
It's just, on Bruce Pritchard's podcast, he mentioned that Vince sometimes has this weird fetish for people getting covered in shit. And I'm like, well, it strikes again.
Yeah.
But much like last week with, Kevin Owens, character-wise, is a dick. And does he deserve much comeuppance? Absolutely. Does he, But it's like, he hasn't really, in my opinion, done anything to really provoke Braun Strowman to deserve getting these things, no pun intended, at Braun's hands. So I kind of feel like all this is happening to Owens from Braun, and I'm like, well, Braun's just, being, a bully. Destroyed a man's car. And...
Well, but then again, isn't that kind of like the weird, isn't Kevin Owens' career mostly been him being a bully?
Right.
So they just got a bigger bully.
It's like, and this is going to be a real big throwback, it's like the episode of Doug.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Bones, nephew, who's much bigger than Roger Klotz.
He became the new bully that Roger was getting bullied by.
And then, Doug's kind of at first, you're just kind of like, nice seeing it happening to Roger. But then, from there, you're like, oh, I feel bad for Roger.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm feeling about Kevin Owens, Oh, yeah, well, he deserves to be, look at all the things he's done to people. But then it's kind of like, did he really deserve all the... He hasn't done anything to you! And the flip side of it is, it's not like Owens is going to get his heat back in a good way.
Yeah, the idea of him likely beating Braun Strowman is not so likely.
Yeah, he's not going to beat Braun. It's not going to be like, alright, you've had your fun. You destroyed his car, you did this, you did that, you did the other. You threw him over the stage in the porta potty. I apologize for using the word heat, but I really couldn't think of any other, real term to use there, so...
just snowball's chance in hell. He could get... If it's extreme rules, is it going to be like a weapon? Are they going to do something?
Possibly. Who knows?
If they do something like that, he could shenanigan a victory.
Possibly, but I don't see that happening, especially with Braun having Money in the Bank.
That's true.
I don't see Owens doing something, to kind of get something back for all this. It's not like... You go back to kind of the... And we mentioned this, when we watched this earlier. There was, when Austin feuded with McMahon, yes, what do you remember the most when McMahon got his comeuppance, when he got sprayed with beer, when he got thrown in the handcuffs and got the beer poured on him, when his car got covered in cement, when the Zamboni came out and he beat up Vince McMahon, when he went into the... You remember all, the times where Vince... But, people forget that in between all those
Austin
weeks...
was fighting against an authority figure.
Yeah, Austin was fighting. Yeah. Austin was on there. There were other weeks where, Kane or Undertaker or The Rock or Dude Love or whoever, Vince's chosen guy got one over on Austin,
The fucking, the 99 Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that straight up was Austin losing at the end of the night directly from Vince McMahon.
Yeah, people, while you remember Vince getting his because that's the catharsis from the working man to the boss, you forget there was story in between there where
Vince fired him.
Vince made him go through a corporate gauntlet, had him get beaten down, and then, covered him nonchalantly and got a win over Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin got put down a lot, and while to me it shows there needs to be Owens needs to get something. He either needs to get one over. He should have before all this happened got one over on Braun. If he would have
justify everything.
If he would have done something to Braun to justify, getting his car destroyed.
Yeah, I didn't what.
He tried to befriend him and it didn't happen. It didn't work. Essentially,
okay.
He tried to kind of because he's a weasel. It's kind of and Braun saw through the fact that Owens was a weasel and said well, I'm not.
Yeah.
In layman's terms, I'm not going to be your friend. You know?
Basically. Yeah.
So then he destroyed his car and then they had a match and he ran away and then You know, it wasn't like he...
Yeah, he hasn't, like, really done... Yeah, I get what you're saying, where, like, you know, he's just a bad person.
Like,
he hasn't necessarily...
Going back to our Austin thing, you know, he didn't just show up and destroy The Rock's car in the monster truck. The Rock threw him over a fucking bridge the week before, and then was like having a arrogant, you know, I'm having a funeral for your career because I killed you. Yeah. And then he showed up and then
wearing the belt and everything. Yeah.
You know, The Rock was being like dickhead supreme from week to week, and then whenever Austin destroyed his automobile, it's like, yeah, fuck you, Rock. You threw him over a fucking bridge and you were bragging about it. Yeah, you deserve that.
Yeah.
This just kind of feels like he's getting a comeuppance for past things that he didn't do to this person.
I think I guess also at the same time, it's just kind of like, maybe it's just one of those things where, I mean, I can't judge what everyone's thinking, but maybe everyone's just like, hey, it's Braun. He's being Braun, you know, and it's just like,
as much as
Popeye.
Yeah,
it's just
right. I mean, and I'm a Strowman fan. I mean, you've heard, watch our past episodes. I've been pushing the fuck out of wanting Braun Strowman to be the guy on the Raw brand, but I'm just kind of like, just from the outside looking in, going like.
It's like, okay, just one last comparison. It's like when you saw Randy Orton kicking people in the head and, like, you know, destroying Legacy, but he was the good guy, and you were like, wait, what?
Right. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at, bro. I'm still saying that Braun needs to be the top good guy on the Raw brand because of the failure of Roman Reigns. But I feel like this is just kind of like, well, now he's just being a dick to somebody who wasn't a dick to him. I mean, he's an overall dick, but, you know... I don't know. That's all we're covering on Raw. Like I said, if we omitted something you really want to hear about, just give a comment. We will reply to you, or at least I will. He might. Who knows? You know, who knows? But now, we'll get back to some SmackDown thoughts. All right. Well, now it's time for SmackDown thoughts, and the first thing we're going to talk about is something that doesn't happen in the WWE a lot. A male versus female match with Asuka taking on James Ellsworth. And maybe they're building to something.
Okay, I previously said that I kind of expected, like, it would be like, you know, she would just, like, murder James Ellsworth, and she
got some licks.
Almost did. Like, you know, she, you know, got some good hits on him. And then he, like, ran off. She gave chase. I made a joke that it was going to be a double countout. And then it happened. And
then Carmella came in, attacked Asuka.
Her and Ellsworth scurried off to a seething Asuka watching. That's
I get, you know, like, maybe this is old school, you know, like, old school JJ or Cornette or somebody, you know, they get there until finally, oh no, the manager's going to get it. Maybe that might happen, you know, after, hopefully, when Asuka wins the title, you know, maybe James Ellsworth will get completely, not just a couple good legs, but like get the shit
put down, basically.
Get the shit kicked out of him that he deserves.
It was, I will regurgitate a little bit. I was listening to Xbox podcast with Joey Ryan, and which I think is the most recent one at this point. And they were talking about kind of like, you know, intergender wrestling, and like, you know, this was brought up, and they just kind of said like they didn't see. Okay, I'm regurgitating with something someone else said, but it's the point. They don't see, like, they don't know if they'd see WWE doing intergender stuff except in comedic instances like this,
right?
Because, you know, they don't want this, you know, because of their whole PG thing going on. This, you know, situations like this could easily lead to a woman looking like a victim, even though obviously Asuka
is not a victim.
Yeah, so it's you know, I don't know if I see this becoming a trend of like, oh, they might do this more often, because this definitely seems like a very special case when you got someone like Ellsworth whose size and character play to this.
Right. Yeah, it's just, you know, I'm over James Ellsworth. I was over James Ellsworth
within less than a month.
Yeah. Just
a couple weeks. Well, maybe a little over a month. Yeah. After that, the second match with AJ.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, to again regurgitate something that we said probably last week. Just, do something. If you insist on having him on the roster, put him in NXT. Have him, work out a little bit. Have him work on his speed a little bit. Have him do something so he can actually come back and do something different. And not just be, fucking James Ellsworth, do a fun chance. And I know he does not sound like that.
I don't know why.
I'm just...
He's from Maryland. I'm just
over it. And all respect and love to somebody like James Ellsworth who got to be in the WWE, which was not even heard of. That is so awesome for that man. But I'm just so tired of it. If they would have scaled him the fuck back way back in 2016, maybe him getting in the way of my Asuka title reign that I want. I'm not going to be all like, yeah, it's just I think maybe that's just the core of it is, he was getting in the way of AJ's title reign that could have been so much better, and right now he's being inserted into something else that I really want to see as far as, world title reigns, and that's Asuka finally getting the women's championship on the main roster, and
I know you find all of that's at the core of it, but I think Wade Barrett and Ezekiel Jackson are at the core of it.
Yep.
Other stuff happened on SmackDown.
Yeah. That was
Sanity ruined a pancake eating contest, which
Hey,
it's one of those things. It's like,
hey, you know what? I just want to think of something. You mentioned, the core. If this action figure were a little better, it'd be a Big Rick.
That took a long way to get there, but that's a fair reference.
Yes.
All right.
Sandy ruined a pancake eating contest at the New Day.
It's something I would expect them to do.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, I guess it's like, I don't know necessarily what to expect from them in a way now or ever. It's not like I have a huge history of watching. I've seen them in probably less than maybe 3 matches, and as a group,
right?
Personally, we saw them live once.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's almost
a
kind
good
of
faction warfare would be good for them.
But I just almost in a way just expect something I guess it can't be I guess how everyone cliches the DC universe, everything can't be dark and gritty and serious.
Yeah.
But in a way though, with Sanity, it's almost like I expected that's the first big thing they're gonna do on SmackDown is break that up. I guess, you already got, the Bludgeon Brothers and all this other serious stuff going on.
You could say, in a good, the happy-go-lucky New Day and their, getting chaos thrown at them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
It's justified. It's justified that they would do it.
The big thing for me is, at the end of this, if it's a faction warfare thing, if it ends up with, however, if it's a good, stable feud, Sanity cannot lose this one. They cannot lose. The New Day will be just fine letting one go.
Yeah.
Sanity will not be just fine letting this one go because they already got beat, cleanly last week to a thrown together tandem. That's not cool. And, which led to my rant about, now I'm finally seeing these stay in NXT, thing, but this could, this could make Sanity, put Sanity up there as, a nice bad guy stable for SmackDown.
Could help them get on the right track. So,
But there's that. But then speaking of other, tandems, Team Hell No, they reunited last week, and then they kind of had their first interviews and their match back this week. They did a really good job with it.
They kind of did something that maybe people wouldn't necessarily expect them to do, which is actually address some of the things that sometimes WWE wants us to forget about.
Hey, they're friends again, and get over it.
Yeah, they're like, hey, like, they actually have a very, very, very checkered history, and
Brian said, like, you tombstone me on the floor. You tombstone me on the stairs. Everybody wants to win. Then you tombstone me on the announce table, and that wasn't a match. Yeah. You tried to abduct my wife. King tried to. Which it was a funny segment, but it was also very good that they acknowledged that. I feel like that's good. It's good storytelling instead of just going, Kane and Brian are friends again, so you're not like people like us.
Here's your feel-good moments. Here's your feel-good moments.
So it's like, oh yeah, remember when he, tried to destroy Daniel Bryan after Daniel Bryan won the title, Yeah, forget about that. Remember when he chokeslammed the man who had a concussion and was not medically cleared to wrestle anymore when he was the general manager of SmackDown? You're not... At least they brought it up, which I give them props for. Usos come out. They had some good timing, some funny stuff with Team Hell No. Paige there came out and decided to book them in a tag team match
with
not with the Undertaker, holla holla holla, but
Team Hell No.
And if the Usos would have won, it would have became a triple threat at Extreme Rules against the Bludgeon Brothers for the tag titles. Two teams had a really good match, and
Kane and Daniel Bryan succeeded. Then you get, I guess, like the Bludgeon Brothers making their ominous presence known.
Right.
So you're kind of, I guess, it's just keeping that road going, like that's where it's heading to them and all that.
It's making me care about the tag belts.
Any other SmackDown?
Shinsuke, they're not. They haven't, despite getting attacked on accident by a police dog. Shinsuke and Jeff Hardy will still happen in Extreme Rules. There was an interview with a little promo interview. I don't know. Some of these are kind of hard to come up with like real life non-insider words to use.
If they use promo, don't they use promos on the games?
Promos, yeah.
Yeah, so you're good.
Yeah, so
if it's on 2K, then you can use it.
Yeah, so Shinsuke does that, calls out Jeff Hardy, says he's going to beat him, take the U.S. title. Fun little promo from Shinsuke. AJ wrestled in English, keeping the whole feud with Rusev going. Jeff defended the belt against The Miz in a pretty good match, but it's just kind of a placeholder for probably inevitably The Miz hopefully getting that Daniel Bryan feud started, and then from there, Jeff and Shinsuke's feud. But that is it for SmackDown. It's kind of brief, and like I said, we've promoted a lot of things because we're going to be talking quite a bit about New Japan because they're having a live special in probably about 10 minutes that we're going to go watch. So we will be back with our post New Japan thoughts, and we'll wrap it up from there. All right, well, we just sat through a 4.5 hour long wrestling event on television, including this here episode, and wow, what a show. Not gonna go into complete detail. If you want more detailed responses, and star ratings, or what have you, just leave a comment and we'll get back to you. But what a show. So first match, Haku and the Guerrillas of Destiny, Chase Owens and Yujiro Takahashi versus Chaos. Haku looking good and looking like he's still the most popular person in San Francisco in the Cow Palace. That was cool. I actually missed this match getting our food. But JC here.
Suzuki-gun of Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. against Toru Yano and Ishii.
Yes, Tomohiro Ishii.
Won by Yano and Ishii. Yano got the pin with help from Ishii.
Right. Then Jeff Cobb, I'm going to be fully honest, I haven't really, been I'd seen a little bit of Jeff Cobb's work, but I mean, he looked great in that match. You know, he was compared, you know, JR in commentary said he was reminded him slightly of Dr. Death, and I can see that comparison. Had a really good match that I didn't think he had a snowball's chance of hell of winning the Never Openweight Championship. He wrestled Hiroki Goto for the Never Openweight Championship. I guess we probably should have said that first. But I didn't think he had a chance in hell, and then midway through that match, I thought Cobb was coming away with the title. So really, really good match. As much as I kind of don't get why they have the Never Openweight title, the matches for the belt are very, very good, so it's not like, you know, it's not like it's a joke of a belt. So, I mean, it's kind of you take the goods with the bad, I guess. And another really good match, the
Bucks.
Young Bucks versus Evil and Sonata in a rematch for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles. Great job by both teams. I don't know if it was as good as their last encounter, but it was still a very, very good match.
It did. I mean, towards the end, like towards the end, it did look like the Bucks could have possibly lost.
Mm-hmm.
But they came away with the victory.
Yeah, so that was cool. Dragon Lee versus Hiromu. Hiromu retaining his IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. That was another really good match. These guys, you know, long-standing rivals, great chemistry. Ever since Best Super Juniors, I've been wanting to see more and more Dragon Lee's work, so I really enjoyed that. And just kind of a special attraction tag match, Chaos of Okada and Ospreay versus LIJ, Naito and Bushi. Ospreay defeated Bushi in that one, and you know, whatever. We'll see what happens in the G1 as far as Naito. I kind of wonder what's going to happen. You didn't really get a lot of answers with Naito. Like, you know, he did just lose the Intercontinental title to Jericho, and you kind of wonder what's happening with Naito, at least me. So those questions weren't answered. And what ended up degenerating into like a very... it was a great match, but what degenerated into having a lot of questions asked was the IWGP US Heavyweight title match with Jay White, the champion, against the challenger Juice Robinson. They kept whipping each other into the guardrails, and it was kind of cool until one... And I'll have to go back and rewatch it. You know, we were recording this just as this event had ended, but I think one of them hit JR and
something happened. And
Josh Barnett was saying "fuck" live on air. JR said the officials need to get their shit together. Josh Barnett gets in the ring and gets in Jay White's face.
I think he said producers.
Producers, or
yeah. So
I thought he said officials.
I could have sworn he said producers.
Well, that's.
And then he was like freaking. Not freaking out, but it was just like it seemed like he was complaining about the officiating.
And he said, you know, it's 20 count. been a 20 count for about a minute here.
Yeah.
So, but overall, really, really cool match. Juice Robinson finally gets his first championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he defeats Switchblade Jay White to win the United States Championship and become the third ever IWGP United States Champion. And then,
ironically, the first American.
Ironically, the first American, yes. 3 Gaijin, but only 1 American. Go figure on that one. But I thought it was a good match and told a really good story. And boy, WWE had something good with Juice there, and they just let it go. I know he had a goofy gimmick in NXT, but man, he's been tearing it the fuck up since he's been in New Japan, and I'm very happy for him. I hope he can really run with this title and we finally get to the main event. Kenny Omega, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, versus Cody for not only the championship, but leadership of the Bullet Club. Good back and forth match again.
The Bucks were ringside with Kenny.
But when
his support, but kind of almost like in a way like the peacekeepers, like trying to keep things from getting too crazy.
Because there were times where Kenny was going too far, and they were trying to kind of talk him away from
that. Like table stuff and ladder stuff.
Cody takes a. Kenny goes for a running powerbomb from the ring to the table on the outside on Cody.
Table flies out from under him, and he kind of just hits it with his head.
Yeah, his head just kind of clips the table. It became a really scary spot.
big suplex off a ladder.
Kenny wins with the one-winged angel, retains title against Cody. Cody walks to the back, and then you see the Gorillas of Destiny and Haku come out, and you think they're celebrating until they attack
Kenny and the
Bucks, and then
everyone.
Then the elite, kind of the Hangman
and
Marty come out. They both get handled. Then kind of the ones you don't really see on the elite members, Yuichiro and Chase Owens come out, and you think like, oh, they're gonna join in on the beatdown because they're not kind of part of that contingent, but Gorillas of Destiny turn them as well until finally Cody comes out, and you think Cody's gonna.
Because there's all kinds of things that could have gone on. Cody could have been the mastermind. Cody could just be manipulative enough to make a deal here and play ball.
But instead, he uses the chair to try to take out the Gorillas of Destiny. It is to no avail. But at the very end of the pay-per-view, or I guess it's not even a pay-per-view, it's just an event, after the Gorillas of Destiny and their dad do their thing, we see for probably the first time the most united the Bullet Club has been with
Cody and Kenny reconciling.
Cody and Kenny reconciling, the Bucks, Hangman, Marty, Owens, and Yuichiro all going in for a hug and a too sweet, breaking the cease and desist. Yes. But, very interesting to see what happens now, especially the Bullet Club, because I honestly thought that, Yuichiro and Chase, Fale was not there, and neither was
he's like the one
Taiji Ishimori, so...
I guess they're like the question marks right now. Like, they kind of said, and you can only assume that Fale would be in with them, unless through some kind of storyline thing he's not.
And we forgot to mention, during the beatdown, the Gorillas of Destiny removed their Bullet Club shirts for shirts that said Firing Squad on them. So we don't know if that's going to be their new group.
Well, they still said Bullet Club, so it might be, if the Elite was a splinter of the Bullet Club, maybe this is their splinter of the Bullet Club.
Yeah. So as Jim Ross put it, we're left with a lot more questions and answers, and perhaps that's the way they wanted it to be. But yeah, really, probably the longest wrestling show I have sat through.
That wasn't a WrestleMania.
There wasn't a WrestleMania, or it wasn't really a pay-per-view or on a streaming service. This was on television. Now, granted, it was cable and satellite television, but still television. 4.5 hours of 8 matches, 4.5 hours. Good show. I'm going to check it out again when it gets uploaded to New Japan World, but he's tired. I'm tired, so we're going to wrap this up. That is JC. Go, and even though
wait, you have to put over Juice Robinson's line. They showed him that package.
Yes, okay, so we gotta do they're doing the press conference, and Juice Robinson had the line of the night. He's arguing back and forth with Jay White, and he said, without that U.S. title, you're just a guy that sits in the dark. Or, this is Juice saying it to Jay. You're just a guy who sits in the dark and counts to 5 by himself. So that was a good line from Juice. Juice was the. Might have to give MVP nod to Juice tonight all around when it comes to interviews and in the ring. But that is JC. Go like his page, the Deluxe Asterisk. I'm the Athletic Geek. We are just 2 marks. We're out. Or maybe for tonight, goodbye and good night. Bang!